Startup Weekend Iowa Online Demo Day celebration. As you can see, we've got our judging criteria we're going to run through quickly before we have our two teams pitch to reset the room. Now I'm starting to talk like we're on Clubhouse. We've got 5-minute pitches followed by 5-minute from our judges. We're actually going to take a quick commercial break, if you will. We're not going offline. They're going to jump in and do some conversations and deliberations in real time before bringing you back the results to award our top finisher for this weekend's Startup Weekend event. Before we get started, I do want to take a quick look at some of our judging criteria. Jay, you've left validation up there, which is one of the primary areas that our entrepreneurs have been aware of as they've crafted their slide deck and their storytelling efforts. Jay, if you want to take a peek at the execution and design, we're also going to be looking at the type of prototyping. How quickly are we building something into reality in order to kind of bring that idea to life? And then last but not least, we're also going to look at the business model, right? How is the value prop going to lead to paying customers and the ultimate product market fit? And so were they talking with customers to do some discovery? Were they learning during those research processes? We had mentors that were talking about team dynamics right out of the gate. We talked about research and testing. We finished with a late night marketing conversation and then started the day with another renewed marketing discussion that led pretty quickly into sales. Our organizing team has been great. We'll talk about them here in a moment. But Kaylee Williams had a wonderful presentation, and then pitch practice, which was all sorts of fun, talking with different types of investors in order to really polish their storytelling into this 5-minute concise experience. Jay, if we want to keep on moving here, we'll talk a little bit about how this works. I've already shared logistics, so let's move on. These are our two teams and the order at which we will hear from them. Mismatch, I'm not going to give away any secrets. We'll hear from them first. And then Inkto will follow up around that 7:30, 7:35 mark. So that is our order for pitching.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. So I'm here to represent Team Mismatch, and I'll tell you what it's about right now. So think about the last time you put on socks. How was it? What was the feeling like? Exciting? Thrilling? You probably didn't think twice. Putting on socks has been the same monotonous routine for such a while. COVID-19 has actually increased the need for adventure and thrill that we want in our lives. So why not do it through socks? Actually, 50% of the customers that we spoke through our surveys agree that life can be made more exciting through socks. So introducing Mismatch, socks that tell your fortune. What is Mismatch? A fun, whimsical, and original premium sock brand that is purposefully mismatched, with tarot cards printed on top of it. Tarot cards are a very popular activity in the US used to tell your fortune. There are approximately 78 in a pack with different things like the Empress, the Wizard, Magician, etc. And a combination of them can help you tell a fortune. Why not add a ritual story on top of this that can help you shake up your mornings? So the new ritual will allow users to go to a web app that will help them select the two socks that they've put on together and discover their tarot fortune for the day. So the market opportunity that we've thought about and the way that led us to socks is the US market represents about $9.3 billion of it, which is approximately 20% of the global market, which is about 47 billion. And it's currently growing at about 6.7%. Thinking about the psychic market itself by focusing and targeting on them, because they represent about 2.2 billion in terms of people accessing psychic services. Given all these numbers, we assume we have about a $60 million opportunity to tap into. So I'll give you a quick demo of the solution that we have. We're planning to sell the Mismatch socks through Shopify, a online e-commerce platform. We have built that But I assume given the pandemic, everybody has done some sort of e-commerce shopping, and I'm not going to go through that. What I would like to focus on specifically is the ritual. This is how the sock ritual is going to work. Step one, you pick a pair of your socks from the mismatched rack in the morning. Step two, you put them on. Step three, you see what the universe holds. It takes you to a platform like this. You select the sock that you put on your left foot, the sock that you put on your right foot, and you see what your fortune is. Hard work and sacrifice is paying off today. We are also using reverse marketing strategies here where they're able to go back to the site and potentially use some promotions that can help them go purchase the product. So the go-to-market strategy that we have for what we're thinking about is starting from a prototype and marketing platform by just using a Kickstarter and a direct-to-consumer thing. We'll connect with suppliers that can help us do print on demand, which will be a little expensive initially, but it'll help us test the market and validate our idea. Eventually, when we get to our final market penetration, we plan to expand our suppliers to international markets in Asia, such as Bangladesh, Vietnam, or Korea, and help reduce our unit costs, increasing our profitability. Some of the ways we intend to reach our customers is through traditional D2C channels of advertising and marketing, Facebook, Reddit, etc. But another option that we've considered is subscribing with other clothing brands that have subscriptions and adding our socks within them as well. Using other promotion strategies like marketing referrals, BOGOs, buy two, get one free, and then the reverse marketing strategy you saw on our website is also an opportunity. The way that we're thinking about expanding on this is actually building more new tarot illustrations. Tarots, the 78 cards I had mentioned earlier, they tend to be static. However, the illustrations that represent it, as you may have seen through some of the images on the slides, they modify. By adding new tarot illustrations in our socks, we will be able to expand our offerings to the customers. Another element is that we're also gamifying the socks so that customers will have rarer socks to purchase, rarer socks that can help improve their fortune, and so they would be able to purchase it more. Finally, we also considering licensing it with external partnerships, either for popular fiction such as Harry Potter or Pokemon, or partnering with sports franchises like NHL and NBA. I'm from Canada and Toronto specifically. The Leafs have not won the Stanley Cup yet, so I would love to see a Stanley Cup and a Leafs sock pair up together, and hopefully we can potentially win. Just want to introduce my team that I've been working with over the weekend. All of these people have been great, and Startup Weekend was amazing. Thank you.
Hey, and the alarm is just going off. It's like you've done that before. Way to go. Very nice presentation. Appreciate the wonderful storytelling and right on the clock. Woo! That was nice. We have about 5 minutes. I will go ahead and start that time, allow the judges to ask some questions and go back and forth with entrepreneur. I'll start that 5 minutes now.
All right, I might go ahead and jump in with a quick question. As you talked about the market, the target market that you're going after, you talked about the old sock market, but just because everybody wears socks, not everybody is going to buy from you. So could you just reiterate for me what your actual target market is?
For sure. So yes, there are people who buy socks, and there are people who also tend to go get psychic services. So the target market that we're considering are people who want psychic services related things like tarot cards that are interested in it, are also potentially going to buy socks, as well as on top of that, want to mismatch their socks. Based on our customer surveys, about 33% of our customers responded that they do mismatch their socks. So factoring all these three different factors, we're trying to find that perfect customer that is interested in all these three things.
Thank you.
To build off that a little bit, I'm interested a little bit more in that target market and also specifically the tarot cards. So I think that's an interesting concept, but tarot in some cases people can be a little iffy about, whereas maybe astrology and horoscope is maybe seems more safe, because sometimes the tarot cards can be scary. Because I noticed you said maybe even socks for little ones. So would you ever consider branching out beyond tarot cards, or specifically the tarot cards, or could it go into astrology or other places beyond that initial place for fortunes?
So within Fortunes, we are open to it. Like originally, we were thinking of tarot cards just because of the number of number of tarot options that you have. 78 cards, given 2 feet, you can just kind of get the many combinations and permutations of it. We are open to kind of expanding based on what we see the response from the market is. We're talking about like mismatched theme socks for like popular fiction, like Harry Potter and Pokemon. But even specifically, we can go into astrology, like the different stars that you have and maybe the ways the stars and the moon and Venus line up. That is something we can kind of explore based on the customer responses in the future.
So I want to ask a question. How do you set yourself apart from other people? Because I used to be very fascinated with the late President Bush choices of socks. So how do you compete with a company like the one he chose all the time? So what makes you guys more unique?
For sure. So the specific element is, so there are two things. First of all, there are mismatched socks. Actually, let me take a step back. Premium socks, there are a lot of competitors out there. A lot of people do buy patterned socks. Mismatched socks is a less competitive market, so it's a much more bigger opportunity for us. And then by focusing specifically on the tarot cards segment, we are able to kind of get into that. Tarot, we haven't, based on our research, found anybody else who's specifically making tarot card socks. What they did, people are making tarot card illustrations. We actually saw a $40,000 Kickstarter campaign that happened just very recently. So by combining this two, we are hoping to stand out from the rest of the competition.
Could you tell us a little bit about the team? What are the roles of the different members of the team? I saw you had the names, and what did they contribute to this project?
For sure, I can walk through each person. I'll start with Mason first. Mason was a product marketer, and he helped us kind of think about the marketing channel strategy. Nick was he actually switched teams to us a little bit later in the middle of the weekend, and it was amazing to kind of get his thoughts and think about how he would buy socks, because he had kids and he was able to kind of help us with that, how his kids tend to mismatch it and sort of customer strategy behind that. Nipun helped us with a bit of the customer survey and also doing the customer research. Kuhila and Nova were the developers. They helped us build the web app that were online. And Suruchi was also able to kind of do the market opportunity sizing and give us the analysis of what the different numbers were and how we can kind of enter this market.
Thank you.
Well, if we have just a few seconds, what's the thing you want us to take away from your pitch?
Mismatched socks will help you make it fun, change up the morning routine, and the whole ritual will just make life after COVID a little bit better.
I have one question, and it's just kind of through my experience. So I know Jill mentioned this, like the horoscope angle, but Spotify does like video today, and you can hear an audio message of what your horoscope is. So have you guys played around with the tarot cards? Like, what are all the different ways that people can experience that so it makes it sticky to come back to mismatch?
To be honest, I have not considered that opportunity yet. So that is something definitely I would have to look into. It's really interesting. I did not know about the Spotify giving you the astrology recommendation. The web app was just the thing that we initially thought about just as a way, because customers can go, even potentially making a progressive web app that's on their phone as just something is there. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to kind of see some other strategies that we can kind of give the fortune to the customer based on their thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you.
Imagine sitting with your favorite tiny humans, searching for a book to read, and they notice something. And with their eyes wide, they look up and ask, why do none of the characters look like me? At that moment, you realize they don't see themselves as the heroes of their own stories. And you decide to right this wrong, but you're faced with a massive challenge that many people don't overcome. I know this story because it's mine. I want to introduce you to my little sister, Nayela and Una. The good news is my story has a happy ending, but many people struggle to put together their talents to bring their stories to life. The problem that we're looking to solve is that self-publishing authors struggle to find affordable, quality art for their stories, and illustrators are looking for portfolio and revenue opportunities in an increasingly competitive landscape. We're looking to start with self-publishing authors and illustrators with children's books with experience between 1 to 5 years and trying to advance in their careers. Hi, I'm Maurice Davis, one of the co-founders of Ink2, and we are an online platform that matches illustrators and authors together so they can build their story. Our customers are the authors and the illustrators' early stage careers that are looking to grow and advance. During our customer discovery process, we found 4 interesting things. The authors wanted to pay for illustrations outright. They were looking for easier ways to find illustrators. Both the author and the illustrator wanted a vetting process for quality, and both were looking for a central place to find resources to help them. Here's how the process works. It's so simple. Think Fiverr for authors and illustrators only.
Yep. Thank you, Maurice. So we understood the competitors in the landscape, and we tried to come up with the best competitive landscape. And the chart you can see here shows our positioning in the service-based and collaborative work quadrant. So we have Fiverr, Upwork, 99design, artists and writers forever. But where they lack, we try to fill the gap. We're trying to focus on collaboration between illustrators and authors, and we want that to be in a service-based, equitable manner that isn't just a one-time project, money-based fee. We conducted a SWOT analysis, and we understood that our main strengths lie in the collaboration and the marketing services we provide. The weaknesses are the barriers to entry. It's a new approach in a relatively old market. Opportunities, we want to focus on children's book to begin with, so that gives us a niche focus, and that's a good start. And in terms of threats, the market size is relatively not as much that could sustain the business. The business model is fairly simple, as outlined in the diagram here. Authors will be connected to illustrators via Ink2. Authors will provide illustrators with a chance to increase their portfolio and gain some revenue streams for their illustrations. Illustrators will provide authors with a chance to share their illustrations and realize them in a book. Ink2, in between, will provide matchmaking services for authors and training and certification for illustrators. The pricing model outlined here will be explained more by Maurice.
So what we'll do is we'll charge for education services in order to fill the gaps for both the illustrators looking to advance their careers and the authors looking to fill their understanding of how to publish, formatting assistance for the authors and illustrators looking to push their books out self-publishing, and then marketing services for any author or illustrator that's looking to grow their revenue.
The cost broke down here include $4,600 for a total cost. $3,200 of that will go into developing the website and the platform, and $400 is reserved for legal and professional fees, which will include writing the terms of service and a privacy policy. The go-to-market strategy, we only started yesterday, and that's when the team and ideation started. Today, we had to finish up the presentation for demo day. By May, we want to develop the MVP and start user testing. June, beta launch and marketing. August, tracking KPI set and pivot if needed. And in December, we want to just acknowledge the progress we had. And this is the amazing team that brought everything together. And we wanted to thank you for sitting through the presentation and for all your support in the startup weekend. It was great. Thank you. Hey, Ben, it's number 13. Yeah.
Number 13 it is. Thank you for putting me on the spot. That is exactly right. We've been calling them muted moments throughout the weekend, and we've been keeping tallies, and that's 13. So, Peter, I told you weren't alone, my friend. I have so many kind things to say about everyone watching and everyone participating this evening. What I was seriously saying, though, was nice storytelling. I will restart the clock. Thank you. And go ahead, judges. Looking forward to hearing how you interact with our entrepreneurs.
I can go fast. First of all, thank you for addressing something that affects me personally. I have a friend of mine who happens to be a white lady, and I'm sorry we have to talk about race, but every birthday she's always looking for a card that shows a Black woman and a white woman together. So you guys are onto something. I hope that you consider also venturing into just birthday cards. But I was kind of a little bit impressed with your work, but I have another question. How do you address just the issue of promoting your work, especially now when not so many people? It's very difficult to say this. As a person of color, how are you going to sell your work, and who's going to buy from you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll grab that one. So what we found throughout our research was that the majority of people publishing children's books, only about 5% were actually doing it for the sake of making money. Most other people were doing it for other reasons. And I'll use myself as an example. I didn't really care how many books were sold. I just wanted it to exist and know that I did my part to make a difference. And so there's a large part of the segment with children's books where specifically they just have other things outside of looking to drive revenue or make sales.
So along
So
those same, go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa.
I had a question just about the business model. How did you arrive at the numbers that you did? For instance, the legal fees. To me, that seemed a little low, but what was the process for arriving at those numbers?
Yep. Do you want me to take that, Maurice?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sweet. So based on legal fees, they're the ones based in Canada, in particular Vancouver. So it's just using services that lawyers provide and some sample websites to give us the terms of service and privacy policies, and or in case we need a session of consultation to see if there's any other document we should prepare. Yeah, ultimately towards a final launch, other costs will be incurred, but that's our first estimation.
So I have a question. What do authors do today? Because do they go to their local library to try to find an illustrator? Do they just ask around because someone has artist friends? Can you talk about that and like how you guys diagnosed that this was a problem?
Yeah. So currently, most authors are kind of doing a combo of what you're talking about now. They're looking for referrals through people that they know, and then they're leveraging platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, and or Facebook groups in order to try to facilitate or locate someone that kind of makes sense. And so how we kind of came up with that this is a problem. Well, number one, I've dealt with it. And then as I was looking, noticing that other people were dealing with it, but I'm in 5 or 6 other author illustrator groups. And this is one of the biggest problems is knowing who to go to for your style of illustration that you're looking for. And while Facebook is great, it's not really the platform designed for that. So it makes that process a little more cumbersome.
To go a little bit off
Okay,
of
so I have a
what Diane was saying. Go ahead. All right. I'll just jump in real fast.
Okay.
The question that I had was for the buy-in that you have for people. As you are more and more coming up as far as the illustrators and the writers, and you were talking about groups that you've been involved in, what is to prevent somebody else from expanding their existing platform to encompass some of this?
To be honest,
Sorry.
go
Yep.
ahead. You can take it, Paul.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to ask a clarification on that. So you mean why wouldn't Fiverr do the same thing or Upwork? Yeah. They could totally do it. Yeah. They could totally do it. Same as like any other startup's biggest fears, like Google or Amazon might do it. But the way I see it, it's not their business model. They have a self-sustaining business model that's been working for months and years. So I see no reason for them to pursue it, at least right now.
Okay. This is Peter, and I have a question about the story started out, and I thought what you were going to say is it was all about having more diverse illustrations, and which it is. But then I thought I heard you say, and maybe I misheard it, that the volume was not the issue. it was about just getting these things, getting children's books published for maybe smaller distribution, which is kind of interesting to me because it seems like a mismatch to your original, your original hypothesis, which said, you can't get good illustrations that represent a diverse population. Is that what I understood, or did I understand that incorrectly?
Yeah. So what I think you're probably saying is there's a couple of problems with the current system. Number one, it's not designed. It's not facilitating a smooth process from the moment that I realize I want to create a children's story throughout the end when it's ready to be published. I would say for anyone that has access to resources, this is a lot easier because you have connections and you have resources in order to buy or to facilitate a relationship. And that usually impacts our minority communities more in the sense that they don't have access to the same level of resources. So yes, it is impacting minority communities, but it's a universal problem across the fact of like, how do I know where to go and what am I supposed to do, and making sure that I'm getting a good product that I can be proud of.
Welcome back. I'm nervous. I was not part of these conversations, so I do not know what the results are going to be. We have so many fun prizes for both of these teams. For some of you who might be curious, originally they were split into groups so that each team could take a package and kind of choose their favorite. Imagine all these digital and physical prizes basically sitting on a virtual table. We're about to celebrate in our after party as a group, and they're going to be able to kind of virtually come up and grab one of those prizes, and the first place team gets to choose first. So we'll go back and forth. Everyone wins. The experience itself was a gift. Nonetheless, we're still going to add to that and make it a little extra fun. Before we get started with our judges, I want to give this jacket away to Mohammed Terrer. He lit up the social media landscape. Kinsey, I'm happy to send you a gift as well, just because you were also making a ruckus out on Twitter. But Mohammed was a neat story. Over in Iowa City, have really got to know him over some of the social audio conversations. A little timid about participating in a startup weekend for the first time, but jumped in feet first and has really helped his team build with his development skills, and stayed up late, took a nap, and that's about it. And so you not only were a good player in our little fun giveaway, but you really showed some neat enthusiasm and dedication to this weekend's activity. All right. So I'm not sure who is going to deliver the news. Jay, I'm not sure either if we even have the slide to celebrate our winner. But I suppose if we can get somewhat of like a moment. All right. Who's gonna deliver our winner for the first virtual startup weekend Iowa online event? And the winner between Mismatch and Ink2 is
We just wanted to draw it out a little bit longer.
Love it. Oh, second place winner goes to the Ink2 family. Congratulations. And our first place winner was Mismatch. Let's give them a big round of applause. This is how we do that virtually. All right. Congratulations to both of our teams. Both really showed a lot of grit working throughout the entire evening. I know we've gone a little overtime tonight, but appreciate you sticking around. Before we close, I'd like to invite the judge or any final thoughts to feel free to share those, and then I'll wrap us up. If there's nothing, we can continue to move into our after party. I know people are ready to celebrate as well. Any closing thoughts from the panel?
I just want to say it took us a long time as we were deliberating. So all of the teams should be proud of themselves and what they put together. And I encourage both teams to continue reaching out to the resources across the state to really move these ideas forward. I think we have some great opportunities here.
Absolutely. Any one of us on this panel, I think, would be happy to connect with you. And to echo Lisa, it was a hard choice. It was tough, which is why, sorry, we were part of the reason we're running late. So congratulations to both teams.
I would just add too that the slides and the level of the pitching was really great. I've worked with a lot of student entrepreneurs, a lot of what I say adult entrepreneurs, and you guys really did a great job to both teams, so Mismatch and Inc. too. So I think you should feel proud too, and just the level of creativity you guys put in. Design, I know that was something we judged on too, so great job.
Excellent, very excellent. Given the time that you had and the, again, the level of detail, very, very good. And both, I think, can move forward. I really do think you could move forward and create a business.
Very nice. Very nice. Nancy, any final thoughts, my friend?
I think they're both fantastic. Thank you for the work that you put in. I think this is a great idea to just spend a whole weekend to do something fun like this. Thank you.